Hey guys, I'm John Hunter. I'm here with a friend of mine, Daniel Blevins. We're here to share a testimony with you. Hopefully this will encourage and help someone, maybe help get somebody out of the pit that we was once in. Thank you, Daniel, for coming and joining us today and agreeing to do this. I know God's been doing a lot of good work in your life, and I'm glad to have you share it with these people.
You're welcome, thank you. I guess testimony is about the struggles we go through and how God brings us through the flood, in a way to speak.
Right.
Through our trials. We're gonna start over. It's harder than I thought it was.
No, you don't have to. If you need a second to think, that's all natural. That's real talk. Go for it.
I don't know, I guess I'll share my story of my life and how I came to God and the things that have happened since I came to God. I grew up here in West Virginia for about 10 years. It was a sheltered, very rough sheltered life, and we moved out of West Virginia, and I was a very angry child. We bounced around from place to place, and I started hanging out with people that get high and drinking and partying, having sex, all this stuff. I started rebelling, and I had a lot of anger in my heart from things that had happened to me in my past, from my childhood, and I didn't have a lot of people that really cared. I mean, I have my people, but the most my people, I don't know how to explain it. It's harder to talk about than I thought.
It is. It's yeah, when it's real. But you don't have to go anywhere you don't want to go.
Right. I understand that. Alright, so we moved from West Virginia. I went from being very disciplined to, is the best way to put it, and sheltered to moving around, and I just basically
Become a rebel.
A rebel, yes. I had nobody could tell me nothing. I got a taste of freedom, drugs, partying, sex, and I look back on it now. I don't blame nobody but myself, but I wish there was one person in my life, and they tried to straighten me up when I was a teenager, and it didn't work out. But all the things that happened to me in life, I believed in God, and I knew there was heaven and hell. All the things that happened to me in my life, I felt like God was punishing me, or I rebelled against God. I turned from God, I didn't care. I got to the point in life where I didn't care if I was here or I was gone, I was just ready to go. Yeah. And I'm 37 years old now, and I've lived a hard life, and a lot of it was my own destruction, self-destruction.
We become our own worst enemy.
Yeah, I've always found a way to screw up any opportunities I've had. I've been very self-destructive. I never really, when I was little, I maybe went to church. I can count on two hands, maybe, if that. And I didn't really start going to church until I came up here last year, and I was in rehab. And that's when I met you, and I met everybody else. And I ain't gonna lie, at first it was just because I had to do meetings, and it counted as a meeting. And there was food and there was people, and it got me out of the rehab. Yeah. And then I grew to actually enjoy coming here, and you guys, the church, a lot of people showed me something that I never seen in my life, and that was kindness. It was I've never had people that actually would go out their way to help me, and that actually cared like you guys have. And but I did that little stint, and he was there the whole time. I started when I moved down here in 2021. I started to realize I moved down here to grow up. I moved down here to get my life together. I moved down here to figure out what I got to do, and I struggled. I was out digging roots, and I was getting high. I wanted to get on my feet so bad and be independent that I was so far out in the mountains I couldn't. And I went to church one day, and this was before I ever came to Charleston, and I went in there and I just gave it all to God, and I bawled my eyes out and I cried, and I didn't stay to talk to nobody. I came in and the church was already started. I went to the pew, I sat down, and I prayed, I bawled my eyes out, and that's rare for me because I don't really cry. And then I left, and that was that.
God was working on you.
He was. God had been working on me after that, and I felt a change, but I didn't realize it, and I wanted to get my life together. So the only way I could do that was to come out to Charleston and stay in a homeless shelter so I could get a job and get on my feet because I was so far out. And the same day I got up here, I go to the homeless shelter. I get in there, I get all my stuff done. There's a guy, his name's Ison. He told me to go over to Jobs and Hope, America's Work, and see about bus fare because I didn't have no money. I came here with a trash bag full of clothes, and I went in there asking about bus fare, and they said, well, Jobs and Hope people ain't here, but they're having a job seminar or fair, I forget what they call it. And I went in there and I met my recruiter, Joshua, and he was a good man, and I just told him this is what it was. I came up here, I'm trying to get my life together. I just got up here today, I'm in a homeless shelter. And I guess, God's good, because that same day I got a job working for the biggest roofing company in North America, Cinemark Innovative Roofing and Flooring, and I got into Bridge Valley College, which is an accomplishment for me because when I was little, I was on disability for my learning disability. Like, I couldn't read, I couldn't write, I didn't know math. I was in special ed up to 6th grade. And then when they took me out of special ed, that's when I really started rebelling, and I bounced from school to school. I got into drugs and partying and hanging out with older people, and that's where it led my life. And I got incarcerated when I was 20, and when I was 22, it took me 7 months of actually trying and focusing, and I got my GED, passed it the first time, and I knew I wanted to go to college, and that was in 2012. I knew I wanted to go to college. I didn't know what I was going for, but I knew I wanted to go to college, and I got there, I got into college, I messed up, I allowed that self-destruction to come in again. I wasn't devoted like I should be, and I still struggle with all this, but
That's being human.
yeah. And I lost somebody I cared about after I was up in Charleston, and I was actually staying with them before I moved to Charleston, and I had a place to stay. I didn't have to worry about food, and I ended up losing that person to a four-wheel accident, and he had a trach, so when he got rolled over in the mud, it drowned him. But I came back up here. I went down for the funeral. I came back up, and I got out of the homeless shelter and went to a sober living house. And I told myself I'd be all right. I can be around drugs. I ain't gonna use. I told myself that I can handle it. And that's when I realized later on that it don't matter how strong you think you are. It don't matter how intelligent, how strategic, or it don't matter. When the very minute you think that you can be around it and you ain't gonna use it, or that overconfidence, like you preached about in the class Friday, that overconfidence, it got to me. You know, I thought I could be around it. I thought I could handle it. I wouldn't do it, and I screwed up, and I lost my college, my job. But here I am back again, and I'm gonna get it together this time. I've been clean, going on 21 months.
That's good.
Like I said, I've struggled in life. There's been points in my life that I didn't want to be here. That I would just rather be gone. And I thought it was, you know, I blame God, and really it wasn't God. It was just the devil. He tempts people, and he'll take and what seems like you're being punished, you know, is, I don't know how to explain it. It's really not God punishing you. It's, you know, it's
Cost of sin.
It's the cost of sin. Yes,
Yeah.
that's a good way to put it. It's
When you do things you know that's not supposed to be, the devil paints a pretty picture. And he shows you all the fun, partying and all the laughter and the carrying on and the good times. What he don't show you is the aftermath.
right.
And that's what gets us. That's where the pain comes in.
Well, see, that's another thing. When like I said, I had a rough childhood, and you know, I know people have a lot rougher childhoods. People have been through a lot more than I have, but I allowed those things. I buried them, and I thought, you know, just because I buried them, they don't affect me. And until, you know, I came to realize that you gotta deal with it. You can't hide your emotions. You can't run from them. That was my biggest thing is emotions, feeling emotions. It don't matter if it's hurt, feel good, or happiness. It's just them emotions. If you don't know how to handle them, you just try to bury them, and then it just leads to more self-destruction. Like me, I would rather. I'm okay now. I'm learning to deal with my emotions, but I would have rather been physically hurt than emotionally hurt.
Right.
So I have myself closed down in a lot of ways, and I'm still learning how to open up and actually trust people. And you know, I've never been a bad person, but I've done a lot of things I'm terribly ashamed of in life, and I've done a lot of crazy stuff. It's just I made my mistakes, and you know, we as long as you learn from the mistakes, and you know, I dealt with the shame of my mistakes for a long time, and you know, a lot of it is I was so ashamed of some of the stuff I did that I couldn't admit it to myself or anybody else, and it took me a long time to be able to open up and say, hey, I messed up, and this is it. It's still, I mean, I'm still learning to do that, but I'm getting better at it.
It's like one of the first steps of healing is owning up, admitting that yes, I'm a failure. I messed up. I should not have done what I done. I know what it's like. I've been self-destructive my whole life. If everything was going or starting to go good and normal, you know, in life, I would always find a way to mess it up. So I can understand exactly what you're.
And God has given me opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. Even while I still blamed him and I turned my back against him, I rebelled, I cursed him, and I know that's bad, but you know, I was a messed up person. I was a hurt person, and I didn't know how to deal with it, and I blamed God, and I rebelled, and the more I rebelled and the more I blamed him, the worse things got.
Yeah.
And until I turned back to him, things wouldn't start getting better. But I've had, it's like you said, I'll get things going and I'll be doing good, and as soon as everything gets good, something happens and I'm back to square zero. I've had to start over so many times in my life. I'm so tired of it. it's rough, and you know, like even doing this right here, it's
not as easy as talking about, don't it?
Nah, I thought I was gonna be confident and be like, yeah, I got this, it ain't nothing, and then here I am, like,
Yeah,
struggling.
because you make yourself vulnerable to the world, because you don't never know who you're gonna be witnessing to. But it's a good thing. But another thing in your story right there, you say, I messed up over and over and over. I'm back to square zero over and over and over. But you can only get back to square zero over and over and over if you don't give up. You don't quit. Yeah, you might have messed up and had to go back to square zero, but you didn't stay there. You're back.
Right.
You see what I mean? You keep
up.
fighting. You keep getting up. You keep moving forward. And now, with God in your corner, helping you, you don't have to go back to square zero. But if you would have gave up at any of those times, and life would have been over,
Well,
you see, then it would have been a whole different.
I had tried giving up many times, and that's another reason I know that God is real and that He got something more for me. There's something more for me in life, and it ain't just messing up. Because
Right.
by all technicalities, you know, I should have been dead a long time ago, whether it be from drugs, alcohol, trying to take myself out, vehicles, razor blades, Mexico. I didn't tell you about that, did I? When I went to Mexico, I stuck my head to the gun, told him to pull the trigger.
No, I don't know. You're talking about going to Mexico, but I don't.
Yeah, we got carjacked, and that was one of the points in my life. I was done. I was like, you know, and I tried. I quit telling people a lot about my life because they'd be like, "There's no way." And
Yeah.
but at that point in my life, we got jacked by I don't know if it was federales, a cartel, whoever, but they took us to an abandoned house and, you know, they locked us in there, and after about, I don't even remember how many days it was, I'm like, listen, you guys gonna kill us or what? And I stuck my head to the gun, and my uncle and my cousin yelling all kinds of profanity, telling me to shut up. And but
It wasn't your time.
it wasn't my time. Just like, you know.
Hey guys, you've been watching Stoking the Fire Ministries. We are a faith-based ministry out of Chesapeake, West Virginia to reach the lost and broken souls. If you like this content, remember to like and subscribe, share this with as many people as you can. We're trying to get our name out there to support these people who don't have anyone else to lean on. Tune in next week for another powerful episode. Our socials will be in the description: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We post weekly content. If you have a prayer request, please leave it in the comment section below and we will keep you in our prayers. Remember, Jesus loves you and I love you. Believe that.